Okay, just putting the last finishing touches here onto the supporting details for the parts of the castle. I've had to add a few extra balloons onto the walls and onto the keep to get all of the supporting details that we were looking for. Anyway, the last one here in the keep was that there was a chapel where the priests said Mass for the Lord and his family. Okay, now these are pretty wordy supporting details, but they're still not complete ideas. They're not necessarily complete sentences. You'll notice throughout here that there are some problems that are underlined in red. These are spelling mistakes. I was trying to type rather quickly. So we can right-click on these just as we would in Microsoft Word and look for soldier, which is unfortunately not there. So we can fix that up. Okay, and we'll see if Merlin's is in there. No, so we'll add that to the dictionary. Okay, and portcullis here. Hopefully that comes up with portcullis. There we go. Okay, so we're all fixed up in the spelling department. So this is a completed planner. And from here, well, there are a number of places that we might go to this. I'm going to choose to transfer this to a word processor, and it will transfer as an outline to Microsoft Word, and then we could finish up with it in there. Now you can see here what the outline is going to look like. So this is the outline document, sort of a skeleton that's got the subtitles already created, and all of these points from our balloons and the supporting details balloons from the diagram are included in order. So we'll look back at the diagram again. Right, so the supporting details balloons here become the supporting details in the outline. Let's just click back one more time. So we see these three supporting details for the towers that we talked about earlier. They were built to support walls, contained some bedrooms, and there was storage for linens. And we'll go back to the outline. And so we see the towers is now down here, built to support the walls, contained some bedrooms and storage for linens. Now the reason that the towers is now on the bottom of our planner, even though it was on the far left of our diagram, is that it was the last balloon that was added. So you need to take a little bit of care to add things in sequence that you want them in your writing. So brainstorming, sort of mind mapping all over the place doesn't really work that well. Okay, things need to be added in a certain logical sequence. Now, with the original balloons that did exist, everything's in a top-down, left-to-right order. Everything that's created after that is, next in sequence. So that's why towers is at the end, and that's why anything that I added here, like I just added this bit about the chapel to the keep, that's why it's getting added to the end of that paragraph. Anyway, let's go ahead and we'll talk about transferring this to a word processor. So you can transfer to a word processor using this icon. You can also transfer under the File menu. You can export the diagram in several different image formats, word processor formats, presentation slides, graphics files as well. The graphics files, JPEG, I believe, is the best one for reading from Kurzweil, although, let's face it, the text version here would be the best way to read to Kurzweil, or to use a Kessie virtual printer under the File menu. But let's take a look. We'll export, not to PDF. I think the PDF is actually just the image file. We'll transfer this to a word processor, and should automatically open Microsoft Word. Of course, first we need to save the inspiration document. So we'll save that. And then it will ask which one we want to open to. We'll open to Microsoft Word, and it should bring up a brand new document with that outline included. Now this can be done from any screen. It can be done from the diagram screen as well. I just wanted to show what the outline would look like before we made the move. Okay, so here's our, I believe this opens as an RTF file. Anyway, this comes up with the diagram above, and it's a little hard to read, and it's just probably the settings I have for my page view right now. So the RTF file has the diagram at the top, then the instructions that were included in the little, how-to bubble here come out first, and then all of the outline that we created using the graphic organizer, these are all included later on. So then I would go ahead, and model or work with students to discuss how to change these outline points into complete sentences. So we'd have to sort of add in here, the walls enclosed and protected the castle, using periods and punctuation, sort of backspacing things into sequence, adding in details a little bit more, some connecting words, etc., to make the thing work correctly. But what this does is it saves an awful lot of time going from the planning to writing stage, which is great especially for struggling writers, and it makes sure that we have things in a proper logical sequence, as long as we ensure that the planning has been done in a logical sequence. So that ends my talk on this bit of inspiration, planning using a graphic organizer and transferring to a word processor.